Hello everyone and welcome back to Keep It English. Today we're going to talk about how to express and ask questions about measurements in English. So let's get started. Expressing measurements in English is a little different to other European languages. First of all, units of measurements can be either in the metric system with centimeters, meters, kilometers for distance, and milligrams, grams, and kilograms for weight. Or they can be in the imperial system with inches, feet, yards, and miles for distances, and pounds, stones, and imperial tons for weight. Generally speaking, the US uses the imperial system, while Australia and New Zealand use the metric system. In the UK, where I am from, we use both. Generally, we use centimeters and meters for short distances and miles for long distances. We also use milligrams and grams for small weights, but stone and tons for large weights. The exception to this is measuring people. To measure a person, we use feet and inches for height, and pounds and stone for weight. However, this is only a generalization. What measurement system a British person uses also depends on their age. Older generations usually prefer the imperial system, and younger ones the metric. It's confusing, I know, and on behalf of my country, I do apologize. Right, so how do you put these ideas into the interrogative? Well, in English, you do not usually use a unit of measurement in the question. You instead say how plus the adjective relating to the thing you want to measure. For example, what is the adjective which corresponds to the noun height? That's right, tall for things which are the height of a person or smaller, and high for things which are taller than a person. And so what's the question when measuring this child? That's right, how tall is the child? And the answer would be about 1 meter 20 centimeters for the metric system and 4 feet for the imperial system. What is the question for a building? Correct. How high is a building? What is the adjective for the noun distance? Correct. Far. And so what is the question for the distance between London and Cambridge? Right, it's how far is London from Cambridge? How many kilometers or miles is it from London to Cambridge is of course possible, but it is not common. What is the adjective for the noun weight? Correct, heavy. And so what is the question to find the weight of a sofa? Correct, how heavy is the sofa? However, another common weight question is with the verb to weigh, with the structure how much plus do plus weigh. For the sofa, it would be how much does the sofa weigh? What are the adjectives for the nouns heat and cold? That's right, hot and cold. Yes, cold is both a noun and an adjective. What is a temperature question for the weather then? Right, how hot or cold is it outside? The phrase "how many degrees is it outside" is technically correct, but it is not commonly used. For the answer, you have two options. If you know the exact temperature, you can say it is, for example, 14 degrees. If you don't know the exact temperature, then you use the adverb really or very, quite and not very plus adjective to express an approximation. For example, it is quite cold outside, you should wear a jacket. Finally, what questions can you make with these adjectives? Big, small, wide, narrow, early and late. Well, I have how big is your house? How early do you wake up in the morning? How wide is the street? And how late did you go to bed last night? Your answers for all of these questions are again with really, quite and not very. For example, I get up very early and I go to bed quite late. Now you know how to ask measurement questions. Let's practice with this table. What is the question to measure this distance? Right, how long is the table? What about this? Good, how tall is the table? And this distance? How wide is the table? And finally, what about this distance for the table's drawers? Correct. How deep are the drawers? And so that concludes our lesson on measurements in English. I hope you found it useful. To recap on any information, go to lesson notes below or test your knowledge with the quiz. See you next time.